Hey everyone, so we're going to continue our taxonomic tour of different animal breathing systems, and since we've switched over from our in-person lecture format to videos, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these videos up based on the taxonomic group. And some of these are going to be more involved than others, so the videos are going to vary in length, but hopefully that makes it easy to work your way through and learn more about the diversity of different breathing systems that different animal groups possess. So we left off examining amphibian breathing systems, so we're going to pick up in this video to talk about the non-bird reptiles. So in reptiles, reptiles are terrestrial, and this is the stage where lungs take over. So in amphibians we saw different breathing systems depending on the amphibian life stage. Here we're just going to be focused on lungs as the major gas exchange organ. And in the reptiles, there is a tremendous diversity in the complexity of the shape of reptile lungs. So some reptiles, like the amphibians, have unicameral lungs. And a downside to unicameral lungs is that the shape of the lung limits how far air can travel, right? So if we imagine these unicameral lungs, here's an example, as being like a balloon type sac, right? As a reptile inhales, air is going to come into the top portion of this lung, but it's going to be very difficult for air to reach the more distal portions of the lung, further down inside of the lung. So this photo actually illustrates that most of the vascularization, so most of the blood flow to the reptile lung for those that have unicameral lungs is in the proximal portion of that lung. And here is just a side view of a reptile that has this style of unicameral lung. These lungs do have folds to them, so there is an increase in the total surface area inside the lung, but they're not particularly complex. And that contrasts with reptiles that have multicameral lungs. And again, I'm not going to expect you to know which reptile groups have which type. I just want you to be aware that there is diversity in this shape complexity. So in contrast to unicameral lungs, multicameral lungs will start to have many different chambers and different sides to chambers. So we're really seeing an increase in the total surface area inside of the gas exchange organ. And then in some species, we also start to see the appearance of a distinct structure in the lungs, the bronchus. And this is a tube that helps to dispense air throughout the lungs. So this is a conducting tube. When the reptile inhales, that's going to facilitate movement of air deeper into the lung. So more of the lung surface will be functional for gas exchange. The other change we see in the reptiles is a switch in the relative use of positive versus negative pressure. So right with the amphibians, the amphibian breathing is based around generating positive pressure. And in reptiles, now instead of using positive pressure to swallow air into the breathing organ, there's a use of the development of negative pressure to basically suck air into the breathing organ. And one of the benefits of this switch over to suction is if you're an animal that relies on generating pressure to push air into your lungs using your buccal compartment, that's going to limit other things you can do with that buccal compartment. So if you switch over to using suction as your major breathing method instead, then the buccal cavity is now free to do other things. So that's also part of why we see a lot of diversity in feeding lifestyles across different reptile groups. And things like incredible jaws that can unhinge. That's a product of being able to use the buccal cavity for other purposes. Reptiles also use another process called elastic rebound in their breathing cycles. And depending on the reptile at hand, there can be two different uses of this elastic rebound. So let's talk through what this means. So in some snake species, muscles will compress the lungs to a size that is below what's called the passive relaxation volume. And then the lungs will rebound and that will provide suction for inhalation. And in contrast, in other reptile groups, such as in lizards and crocodilians, there will be inspiratory muscles that will expand the lungs above that passive relaxation volume to generate suction. And then rebound's going to provide the pressure for exhalation. So in one case, rebound's involved in inhalation. In the other case, it's involved in exhalation. And I think it's easiest to remember this if we just do a simple breathing exercise to practice it. So if you're breathing in and out, and it's difficult for me to demonstrate this while talking about it, but if you're breathing in and out, right, there'll be a point where you're kind of comfortable, relaxed, somewhere between inhalation and exhalation. You know, that's going to reflect your passive relaxation volume. If we want to breathe like a snake, what you're going to do is you're going to exhale as far as you can, and then relax, and you'll notice that you'll be able to draw some air in, right? So you're going to forcefully relax like this. And then that rebound is providing the suction for inhalation, generating the pressure forces. Now, if you're going to breathe like a lizard or a crocodilian, for this, what you want to do is take a deep breath and then relax, and again, you'll find yourself coming to that passive relaxation volume again, right? So a lizard or crocodilian is doing something much more like to breathe, okay? And I put a question on this slide just as a reminder that reptiles also do use apnea to some extent, right? So it takes energy to exhale or to inhale, depending on the species. So under some circumstances, reptiles will use apnea, so they're not actively breathing constantly, but there can be some irregular patterns to their breathing. So that takes us through reptiles, and in the next video, we'll take a closer look at mammalian breathing systems.